look at what you're doing. All good chokes, all good strangles start with leg control. So you're looking how in this seated rodeo ride, you've got great control with the legs. So you're controlling him, the lower body, extremities there. He's stuck. You've got an anchor there. Now you can start turning your attention toward his neck.
Come right through. We've got the collar for the wrist choke, or sorry, for the collar choke. Again, we finished with the legs.
And then
go ahead and work on what we call the seated rodeo ride, particularly when an opponent is very defensive against the choke. You know, maybe they're holding on to the lapels, or they're trying to stick their hands up next to their ears, or they're doing the mummy thing where they cross their hands like this. So we'll be working on some techniques to pry the hands away and do a little bit more of what we call hand fighting. Okay, so we're going to start from a basic rodeo ride application. So this is more of a seated rodeo ride. Mike realizes I'm on his back, he's in a bad position. But if I just start digging for things, I'm going to have to really work hard to get my hands in between there, and he's not going to let me. So first things first, let's just be very easy about this, okay? Nothing fancy, okay? We're gonna start peeling an arm away. And the easiest way to do that is just push down, okay? We don't have to worry too much about it. If I start pushing and he's too strong, I'm gonna follow up with something different, okay? But never step over something easy to do something more complicated, okay? So I pick which way I want to choke. I'm gonna push this arm down, or peel it down, as it were, and then come across, okay? I'm not gonna get the rear naked from here, but what that opens up is Shime Waza with the actual lapels. So this hand, which was pushing down and holding the hand out of the way, comes up and flares. I bring my hand up, thumb in. My other hand that was flaring just moves right over to the other lapel, straight down. There you go, Iri Jime. Okay, so one more time. Push down one hand, come across, flare, get my thumb in as deep as I can, and you'll notice his hand is still in there. The important part is I'm choking him on this side, and I'm using the lapel to aid. Okay? As soon as I finish the flare, I reach across and grab the other lapel. Pull straight down, not across, straight down, and go sideways.
another point that you're doing, Derek, that a lot of people don't do, they think strictly upper body. Look at what you're doing. All good chokes, all good strangles start with leg control. So you're looking how in this seated rodeo ride, you've got great control with the legs. So you're controlling him, the lower body, extremities there. He's stuck. You've got an anchor there. Now you can start turning your attention toward his neck. And that's exactly what's happened. So that's why this back position, getting the back, is so essential in the style of grappling we do, whether it's Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever it may be. This is really an ideal situation as opposed to wrestling, where it's really not that big of an issue, really, because we do submissions.
Right.
Okay, good.
Now, second step, if he's a stud and he's not letting me push that hand down, which happens sometimes, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to start doing some more hand fighting, okay? So I try over, that's not working, so I'm going to come up underneath his armpit and his elbow, reach through and grab that wrist, okay? It's basically a wrist ride from, you know, Judo or from wrestling, okay? Once I get that hand, it's very easy to control where he's going, okay? He wants to block that, I can just pull down and again, come across, get the Shime Waza. This time, since I've got the wrist, I don't have to worry about getting the cross lapel, okay? I'm gonna pull that wrist in, almost like I'm gonna try and pull it through his ribs. I'm gonna apply the choke with the lapel, and I'm gonna spread him with my legs.
Now we want to point here, the reason this works is because the shoulder joint is probably the least stable joint in the body. So let's use the weakness of that joint. Even a guy who's real big and buffed, his shoulder is going to be generally weaker than not.
Right.
So we're attacking that. So that's the point we're attacking. And when you're pulling down and back, you can see how you're pulling against, really you're making the shoulder even weaker, you know. So would you show that again, because that's a good point.
Okay, get the hand down to do the previous version. So I'm going to come up underneath his armpit, my hand pops through because he's worried about this part here. He's worried about protecting his neck with his hand. Okay? That puts a hole right there in his arm. I'm going to just meat hook it with my hand. As soon as I get that, I pull it back. That's it.
Now, even if he's fighting that a lot, it's going to be pulling back, you know. So in a real situation, if Mike resists, it might be not a whole lot, but there you see down and back.
Yeah. And that's all I need, you know, just enough to open up that spot, and then I come over and slip my hand in for the Shime Waza. Okay? As soon as I come back, I pull this back more, use the lapel and my feet to finish the choke.
And you lean back into it, arching the hips and turning a bit, and there you have it.
Using the strong muscle groups, just like Coach said earlier. The hand is really just to block them off. The feet, my back, and a little bit of my hand are what's applying the choke. Okay. For the last one, what we're going to do is more from a traditional rodeo ride, and we're going to be proactive. We know we're starting to be on elbows and knees. I know I'm going to apply the choke.
By the way, everybody, we got a lot of background noise because we have a big practice tonight, so we wanted to catch this. So please listen up. Derek's talking as loud as he can.
Sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to be a little bit more proactive with this. I know I'm going to end up in a seated rodeo ride. I'm starting from him on elbows and knees. I'm going to roll him over, but I'm going to control the wrist as I do that so that when we pop up, he only has one hand to defend the choke.
Which way are you rolling, Derek? Do it roll toward me?
Go that way.
Okay, so I'll get an angle here. Okay, good.
Okay, so start in. Okay, I've got the hooks. I'm going to come under and I'm going to get that same wrist ride. Okay, so as I pop this up, I'm going to roll him over that shoulder. It's like I'm knocking the leg out of the chair. Okay, so that pops up. Roll him up and onto his butt. And now you'll see I keep that wrist right there where we had it before for the last choke. Come right through. We've got the collar for the wrist choke, or sorry, for the collar choke. Again, we finished with the leg.
And the nice thing about trapping that near wrist, we've always been fans of it here at Welcome Mat, controlling that near wrist ride. Show that again, because when you pull that wrist in, that collapses his shoulder. You pointed this out, but let's really key in on this because this is a great way to control.
Get my hooks in, and instead of immediately starting to fish for the choke, I'm just going to reach into the armpit, meat hook that wrist, and bring it up to his chest. Okay, most guys don't even fight it when you do that. They figure they're safe there. Okay, that collapses that shoulder and allows me to roll him over the shoulder nice and easy. Always pop up to your butt because it makes you more mobile. It gives you more control.
Yeah, you definitely don't want your opponent, in this case Mike, yeah, you don't want to have him bearing, you have to bear his body weight.
Right.
Who's got the control now? Well, Mike generally does. You want to be up on your buttocks, seated.
Right. And I still have that wrist that I collected at the very beginning. As soon as it hits his chest, it stays there until I come through, dig under for the lapel, sit back,
And there's the choke. So that's really, from a judo sense or a jiu-jitsu sense, if you're giving it a Japanese nomenclature, that's an okuri erejime, sliding lapel or sending after lapel choke, but you're using with a wrist control, as opposed if you were doing a kata hajime where you would be winging the arm. So you keep the wrist there, and not a lot of people do it. Some people do it, but it is a very good technique. There you go. So, okay. We good on that one, guys? Okay, well, what we want to do here, everybody at YouTube, was we had some requests to show some basic peeling off with the hands. These are a little more functional things. You see a lot of the standard stuff where people peel hands away. Those are all really good, but we're seeing a little more realistic application of it here that we've used with some good success. We've seen other people use with good success as well. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys.